Alrighty. I think we are good to go. Should be starting. So looks like we have some people here. Let me know if you can hear everything okay. It should be set up properly. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be moving there. Maybe there. Volume. I don't know. Does that help? If you can hear. You can hear and see me. Thank you, Joy. That's always a good thing. You know, this used to be so much simpler back when we were all just totally new to all this, way back 10 years ago on Ustream. It used to be a whole lot less complicated. I don't know why it's so much more complicated now. Now I don't have a chat yet because I'm still trying to. You'd think I'd eventually figure out how to get this all, because I kind of trip onto on my iPad finding the videos. It's so I just keep clicking till it comes up. So that's my problem, and then I don't know how I got there. So I don't know how you all find me, because I can never find. I'm not logged in on my iPad, but I never seem to be able to get. So I'm a hot mess, you know. Just there it is finally. I guess it just takes a while. So good. I'm glad my phone told me I'm live. So, anyway, oh my goodness. You know that whole if it can go wrong, it does. It's just how just life in general seems to work for me. So my camera broke the other day, so I got the exact same camera, so everything seems to be working okay. But and then yesterday I had so many different things going on with. It was just crazy, and all of a sudden Joy texted me and said, "Are you having troubles getting your camera set up?" And I went, "Camera? Oh crap! I'm supposed to be doing a show." So we just said, let's just move it to Sunday. I'm lucky I know what day it is anymore. So this is just it's absolutely crazy. So it was really funny over on Seth Apter's Facebook thing. He had a poll, I guess, for want of a better word, of, just talking about when people are, because he does so much live classes. I used to do live classes. I don't do as many. I haven't. I was supposed to in June, but he travels all over the world. I want that live, but hey, but he had a poll thing talking about, first couple of questions of how, all of this is going on. And I don't want to use the words because it gets my videos limited. So I'm not using very specific words. But with everything going on right now, it just, how is that impacting your creative time? Do you have more time, less time? I'm like, I feel like I have no time. And yet my life personally, just me, not my family, just me, I'm not as dramatically impacted, other than I'm the primary person that goes out and does grocery shopping and all that kind of stuff. But that's really not that much different. But I seem to have zero time lately. But I also have everybody home here, and I'm constantly, hey mom, stop and do this. Hey Laura, can you do this? So I'm just like, I haven't got to be creative since the last class. I had to, because I had to do my last TCW design team project. And that one, I started at like 8 o'clock at night, and it had to be up by 1 o'clock my time. It was like I had 10 minutes to spare. So, I'm just pulling those out of thin air at the last minute, which is crazy. So, but I don't know where the hours and days and weeks and now months have just poof. But then that's been the way it's been for me for the past 4 years, I swear. So, I just want to sit down and just play just to play, create just to create. But we'll get there. One of the things that I am thinking of doing potentially, no, it's frozen up. One of the things I'm thinking of doing. Oh wait, no, sound. One of the things that I am thinking of doing. Wrong direction. There. Sorry about that. But one of the things I am thinking of doing is, rather than here on YouTube Live, which seems to technologically be more challenging for me right now, and I don't know why, but I might start doing just some, demo quick stuff. I don't know how much warning I'm going to give or something, but I might be starting to do some of those kind of on some Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives. As usual, technologically, I'm a little behind the times and stuff. I'm trying to do more and more on my Instagram, and I need to do more on my Instagram. I'm trying to be posting more and putting more stuff up. I'd love to share what some of you all are doing with some of my, either my papers or my patterns and stuff. I'd love to share some of that as well. When I first started, blogs were the big thing. Well, blogs aren't the big thing so much anymore. And more people, Facebook groups, which we've been doing for a million years, are still pretty popular. And Instagram seems to be where a lot is happening. But I don't know how many of you are involved in Instagram, whether you want me to do the Instagram videos or you want the Facebook Live videos. I think the Facebook Live videos last longer than the Instagram. I think the Instagram ones, I'm not really sure. I know how, like with your story on Instagram, it disappears in 24 hours. I don't know how it works with the Instagram TV, whether or not they stay there or how that all works. I got to look into that a little bit. And the Facebook Lives, I know how that all works. So, but I may be starting to do some of those. I don't know how many of you use Instagram versus using Facebook. I know y'all use Facebook, or a lot of you do. So, I don't know. Things are crazy with all the social media right now too, as to what you can do things here, but you can't. It's like, because I mentioned certain words in my last video, it's limited in terms of the monetization and all of that, because I use very specific words. Not because my content was anything. So I get a little frustrated with YouTube right now. Yeah, I know Facebook Live videos stay on my Facebook page, Deb, until I delete them. But with Instagram, I'm not sure, because I haven't done any of the Instagram TV. Oh, don't worry about Twitter, Joy. I don't do it. I have a Twitter account, but I use it just to the people I follow to read what they're doing and that kind of thing. As I said to somebody on my Facebook page today, I have zip nada crafting. 0 on my Twitter. I rarely tweet. I just use Twitter to kind of read about stuff that's happening and things like that. And so there's nothing to see there in terms of crafting. So, same like I had some issue last night with somebody getting upset with me on Facebook. My Facebook page is my personal Facebook page. My business page, I don't post anything remotely close to political or anything. I try really hard not to do anything political. The most I do is or as I was accused of preaching, all I ever preach about on there is wearing a mask, and I'm sorry, but that shouldn't be political. So I'm very careful about what I do post, but it is my personal page. So I've always seen people in for a rude awakening when they try to follow my personal page, because I have like 0 crafting on my personal Facebook page. Anything crafting wise is either on my Laura Dennison Designs page or it's on Paper Doodles. So anybody watching wants to join Paper Doodles, you look, you search Paper Doodles on Facebook groups. It is a private group. One of the things I want to add onto there is I need to make sure that people are reading what our rules are. And so I might put it to where that you have to answer a couple questions or something like that. It is, as I said, private, and either Joy or I have to approve you into the group. But we mainly have it private just to keep the people who are constantly wanting to advertise, that sort of thing, is the biggest reason of keeping it private. So staying up with it all. The social media hat is probably my most challenging one, because it's a lot to keep up with. So anyway, Joy finds Twitter boring. Yeah, it pretty much is. So, but it's a great way to figure out what's going on. Like, our power went out in the middle of the night last night at about, it must have been about 1:30. The power went out. My husband goes, "Did they turn off the power grid?" So, he made out. He was trying to make a joke, but I don't know why it went out. But you can go on. I immediately, the first place I went was to Twitter for the electric company to see what was going on. So, okay, so there's, at least Lori is saying no Instagram, so Facebook is not. Instagram will be, when Facebook used to be the in place, and then, as this is what my kids tell me, and then all us old folks took over kind of Facebook, so they're in Instagram. Well, Instagram's probably getting close to being there, so now they're on TikTok and apps that I have no idea. I probably should, but I don't know. So, but I probably will do at least. Probably I might try an Instagram live to see how it works. And all of these I will let you know on Paper Doodles, for sure. But I do want to at least try it on Instagram. But if I'm going to do those kind of lives, it'll probably be on Facebook. Because the setup is so much easier for those, because I don't have to have my laptop, my computer, my laptop, and my iPad all running at once in order to be which is what I have to do with YouTube lives. Whereas the Facebook lives, I use my phone and my iPad, and that's plenty. So I am in the exact same craft room. I rearranged my room before Christmas, I think it was. So yeah, it's been in this same arrangement for over 6 months now. It was last fall sometime when I rearranged it around. So, but Marilyn May, yeah, you haven't been here in about a year, so yeah, you wouldn't have missed it. But yeah, it was last fall sometime. Same room, just a different spot. So, now, but I now have these 2 bright windows right behind me, which is great for my light for me, but not so great for the camera. So I try to set it up so I'm in between the 2 windows. So, but anyway, well, anything that I would do on those short little live things, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, would not be any continuation of anything we've done here on YouTube. I have, to be honest, as you all know, I haven't been doing that much live stuff in 2020, or yeah, in 2020. I just haven't been. I've been going through my own stuff, so to speak. I am wide open to admit, I've had some struggles through all of this. It's not been fun and easy. I think the last 10 years caught up with me, and I know I went through some pretty significant burnout, and I've been trying to crawl my way back. And during a pandemic, that's not really easy. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So it'll be good. So but anyway, all right. So what we are working on today is we are continuing on with the little tiny book that we got started, our little one page that we did. Was it what? I don't remember what day it was. What's today? Today's Sunday. Was it last Saturday? I don't even remember what day we did it on. But it was a little over a week ago. So we're going to continue on this, put some covers on it. I was going to show you an alternate binding, but I can't find the binding strip. I found the picture on my phone of it, but and I had to run out to the store right before class, so I couldn't sit and figure it all out in advance. So I'm gonna have to show you the alternate. I'll show you the picture, but it's a related alternate binding to this one. But it's one place I didn't think to look. It was up in there. It might be in there. When I switch cameras, I'll look over there and see. But we'll put the covers on here and potentially work on another page. With this one, if you, those of you who didn't watch it, you can go back. It's here on YouTube. You can go back and watch how we constructed this. And we're just doing little tiny pages. You know, we played messy. You don't have to do messy. You can do a 6x6 pad will work perfect for these. If you want to just mat them, use some embellishments. With this one, I was just using paints and stamps and stuff. So you can do it totally dry and tidy, or you can do it messy. It's entirely up to you. Excuse me. The beauty is you just have, you know, some little pages, and these are pocket pages. And then I showed how to do the binding, which I'm calling Hex Accordion Binding. And I showed that in that last class, so you can go back and watch that if you missed that one. So, well, the one of the things that's really great about having the videos is you can go back, Deb, and watch them over and over and over again as you need to. So, but yeah, see, it's a little hexagon type binding. So let me go ahead and switch cameras, and we can get started. So hopefully the sound works when I switch over. All right, does the sound still work? So Joy, if you could let me know if the sound is still working. I'll push out of the way. And I got a little stand now finally for my iPad, so I can read the chat, and it's easier to read when it's not laying down flat. Okay, yes, sound still works. Awesome. All right. So with this binding, as you can see, I have this one page already glued in. So, but it's got the little fins, and then it's got little tinier fins on the back side, and that gives it some vertical stability. So, but the fins that are at the back end and the front end have a little tab, and I've already got the score tape on them, and that's what we're going to attach our covers to. And I'm going to use lightweight chipboard, 2 sheets for the front, 2 sheets for the back, and these are just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I took an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet and cut it in quarters. Excuse me. It's the same thing I did with the pages, so it's the same size as the pages. Excuse me. So same size as the pages, and I'm going to sandwich that little fin in between. So let me grab some score tape to put some on the score on the other side. I'm so bummed. My emergency source to getting score tape locally, when I suddenly realized I've run out and it's going to take a couple days to get it ordering in. Impress stamp store here in the Seattle area has closed up until all this mess is over with. So they're just online for now. They said a lot of most of the ladies working there were like my age, and I'm sure they just didn't want to deal with stuff keeping the shop open. So they've gone online for the time being, and then when everything is all back to whatever our new normal is going to be, they will find a new location and reopen. But in the meantime, it's like, I can't just go run down there and get some score tape when I'm frantic and it's a Sunday afternoon and I have no score tape and I didn't remember to order, or my order is running behind or whatever. All right, so I'm going to take and attach, and I'm going to center this just like my pages are. I'm going to set that right next to the fold, but not over the fold. So it's going to attach like so. And then this one will attach also on the front. If you want to have some sort of way of tying your little book closed, you can also put a ribbon or a fiber that sandwiches in between, which is what I will probably do before I attach this one to the front. We can do the same thing on back. So that puts our little covers on. Now they're the same size as my page, so my tags are going to stick out, but it gives you the cover on your front and back. Let me grab some ribbon so then I can get this prepped to put the other layer on. And I have my main way closed off with my camera, so I have to squeeze through this other section. So hang on 2 seconds. Okay, let's see. I'm still here. I'm just trying to find a ribbon, so hang in there, guys. Oh, here's a good color. Is it long enough? Yeah. Oh, come on. Where's the other end of it? It's a very full spool, and it was pulling from the wrong end. So. Same kind of periwinkle blue color. Similar periwinkle blue color as to what we have, so it's just I'd rather cut it a little long and then trim it than have it too short. So yeah, unfortunately, Deborah, that's pretty much the case here. That was one of the few places where I was going to get a lot of the cool kind of supplies was up in Vancouver. Well, I can't do that one now either. So I'm kind of like a lot of people. I'm in the order it online boat. And I don't know. I like shopping for stuff in person still. So it's very frustrating, but it is what it is, and we'll eventually be done with it. But yeah, we have very few brick and mortar stores anymore. And unfortunately, I have a feeling whatever few that were still available are going to be not long for the world at this rate. So I'm going to stick this on here. Now, if we wanted to paint or something on these, we can do that beforehand, and I think we might before I stick this down. But what the next step would be, have this painted or whatever I'm going to do, paper it or whatever, and then you would put, we've already got it across here, but I'd put score tape on the rest, and this is going to attach here to the outside. So it's clean on the inside, the outside, and then it's got a tie thing here. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and put piece on the back. And I just put about 1.5 inch long piece of score tape on there. But yeah, no, I'm thinking of one scrapbook store, and it's a good 45 minutes north of Seattle, and which puts it about 1.5 hours from me to get to it. So let me just slip, though they're not going to be glued in, I'm going to slip some pages in. Let's put them in temporarily for the moment. Yeah, like I said, though, the ones that I wish I had easier access to right now. There's the one in Vancouver, and then there's the one that I was going to teach at in Calgary, and I would give my my left foot to live closer to that one, because that one's got everything I want. But even Calgary's a little bit of a hoof. So anyway, okay, so that gets me my front and back covers. It's got the little pages in it, and it just makes a tidy, cute little book. It makes a cute little brag book. You can make it larger, as I talked about in the last class. You can make it larger to whatever size you want, or you can keep it small. The beauty of the small is quicker, faster, easier to get done. So I think we did these pages. We put the binding together, as well as this one page front and back, in the 2-hour class last time. So we can either decorate the covers today, or we can do a page. I don't know which people would prefer. So I'll have to sit here waiting for the delay, because I always love the delay. As one thing with the Facebook Lives is there seems to be less delay. So and everybody gets quiet. Classic. Another page, another cover. Okay, we got 2 covers, we got a page. Other than the stability, what is the advantage of the hex style versus the score gusset binding? Well, this one doesn't have a spine. That's the main reason, is you don't have to have a spine piece, so you don't have to calculate, how wide do I want it, how much spacing do I have. You have, up to 1/2 inch then between your pages, naturally, just how it works. And there's no hard spine piece, very much like my what did I call that, hexagon accordion or something. I wasn't very good at naming things in the early days. Well, I'm probably still not good at naming things, but in the early days it wasn't my strength. So it's not totally dissimilar to that, but it doesn't get attached to it's just an alternative. Maybe looks fun. As many of you have been around forever, I have my Bindings and Beyond book from several years ago, and that one's got like 40 plus bindings in it. I've probably done at least 50 types of bindings, variations of bindings, in the last 10 years. It's kind of a fun thing that I do. I never seem to settle on one. You know, I know that there's been some designers, they do a binding and that's what they do then till the end of time, that same binding. I just like variation. So it doesn't mean you have to bind something the way I bind it. You can, you know, make your own choices from the options. I just like to give you lots of options. Unfortunately, over the years, I know I've given people too many options. I need to be less, you know, all over the place with some of that stuff and pick one and stick with it for a while. I think people would be a lot happier with me if I would do that. But I just like doing something different. So yeah, there's no spine. This is finished. What it looks like right here. You know, you'll have the cover on it, but yeah. So there's no added anything covering over that spine, so it's an exposed spine. But you know, as I noted, it gives you expansion, or as I've said from the very beginning, it's breathing room. So hence the accordion. You know, that's the beauty of accordion, is it can expand or contract. So excuse me, if you keep your pages excuse me, my allergies are wicked this year. But the if you keep your pages completely flat like this one is, with it's just got paint and stuff on it, that's one option. But if you want to add pockets, let's say you want to make it larger and put a bunch of flaps and pockets, or use any number. You know, how many patterns do I have these days? Has anybody counted recently? But all of those albums, because every 3D project I have also has an album with it. So I don't even want to know how many hundreds that makes. But all of those different pages, for instance, if you went to the Mystery Book Club, where it had all of those pages, or my Turn the Page, where it has all of those pages, this is a fin-based binding pages. It just needs the pocket, you know, it just needs this pocket sleeve style of page. It can slip on there. So your pages can be any style of page. They can have 14 million flaps and stuff and still use this binding. I'm just going for super simple, because I think we've all gotten away so much from just the small and simple, like I talked about in the last class. And we've been doing these, you know, if I make it smaller than 8 by 10, people get upset. They want it big, 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 big. Well, they're no longer mini albums at that point. So I wanted to go back to do a true mini album, a small album, and then keep it simple and just, you know, play with some wet kind of playing stuff rather than just papering it. But you could totally just paper it too. So you don't have to get messy. You can keep it clean and tidy, because I know for a lot of people, doing the messy kind of stuff is intimidating. And so I don't want to intimidate anybody that they feel like they have to do it that way. You can totally just put paper on it. So well, once you put the covers on, you've got the pages are limited down. I suppose you can't take the covers off to just keep adding pages. And I don't know that, as I talked about in the last class, I don't know that I would do more than 6 pages, but I'm also a firm believer in that anyway, because I think aesthetically it gets too much and too big. I mean, that's one of the things, you know, when I don't watch YouTube very often, but every once in a while when I see an album or something and somebody's got it like 6 inches on the spine, you're really pushing the structural envelope of what paper can do. It starts getting, especially once you have photos added into it, it starts getting massively heavy, and those pages get heavy when you start adding 4,000 pockets and 3 flaps with another 4,000 pockets, and then you put the paper on them, and then you put the photos on them. It starts becoming, each page is heavy, and that's where people find that things start to rip or start to tear, you know, because I've often said I've had so many of my albums in major shows or at stores to where they're opened and messed with and all of this for, weeks at a time, and I've never had a binding fail. But then I get to thinking and how much people put on so much stuff on one page. People put on one page now more than what we used to put on an entire album back in the early days. So, paper it can only do so much. And so that's where it fails. And people have been doing things like putting Tyvek in it or putting fabrics like I've done in bindings, all of that kind of stuff, which helps. But it's like, it's like I'd make that into 2 books. I have never made an album intentionally with a binding wider than 3 inches. Any of the patterns that I do, I don't make them. I think I might have one that has a 3.5 inch spine on it, but for the most part, I'm sitting here. I have 2 rows of them right in front of me, and the widest is 3 inches, because I also think aesthetically wider than that, it just looks too much. That's my personal aesthetic. If you are fine with how that looks, then hey, go for it. So I have 280 album patterns, Christine. Really, honestly, you're not exaggerating. Wow. I was gonna say maybe 180, so 280. Just, I know that somebody has been keeping. Was it Melissa who was keeping track, and then you took it over, Christine? Somebody was keeping a running list of all of my tutorials. Okay, that if I have 280 different album tutorials, that kind of, yeah, you have a spreadsheet. You're the one who's been keeping that up. Wow. Really? Wow. Okay. I didn't think there was that many. Wow, that kind of is a little mind-blowing. So yeah, I'd rather, like Deborah says, I'd rather put in 2 thinner albums than 1 thick one. So, but anyway, I mean, how many pictures do you take that goes into one album? Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I'm the first one to raise my hand, guilty, that I don't get photos into my albums very often. So anyway, all right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a front cover and one of the pages. So we'll kind of do both. Because I want to get the covers on there. So, and I might just leave the back cover, just the craft, just because maybe I'll do a little bit of stems. I can probably do them both at the same time. So anyway, all right, let me get my nonstick sheet out. And we've been using kind of on this one, on that page, I used some white gesso just as a kind of a base, and I didn't wash I washed brushes out, but then I used them the other day and I didn't clean up after myself. See, this isn't why I use cheap, inexpensive brushes, because I'm really terrible. I tend to leave things sitting in water for days. I'm not a nice brush parent. So these have been sitting here since Wednesday night. That was slimy. I love doing the albums themselves. I'm not as big on putting the photos in them and such. That's why I've kind of started moving. I started it, last year, and I'm working towards developing it more, of doing my photo journals. I've talked about those a few times here on the show. And the photo journals are hybrid type of albums that, I build them like an album. Okay, I left really icky dried stuff on there. I'll clean that one up later. came right off. But, okay. Obviously, that was using a part of my brain that the speech centers were occupied with because I couldn't come up with a word. But I keep going, but. My brain goes into la la land. What was I even talking about? Don't you just, there's, I think it's just quarantine brain. Oh, I shouldn't have said that word. But I think it's just stay at home brain or something. Because, I know part of it's getting older, but part of it I just think is, I don't know. My brain just doesn't work on the same level. Because see, right now I'm like going, what was I even talking about? I'm still grasping the fact that I have 280 tutorials. So I just like to randomly just slap some on. And then I can decide which one I like better. Traitor Christine. I'm teasing. I've never put pics in my albums very often. I just don't have, with that number of albums, I don't have that many pictures. So I'm considering what I do, it's pretty mind-blowing that I don't take a lot of pictures. I'm bad. 90% of the pictures are for tutorials, to be honest. And that doesn't include all my digital paper stuff. No, that's just the tutorials. I'm guessing the 280 is just the tutorials for the albums and or the 3D stuff. But everything that's 3D, with the exception, I think, of one or two, has an album to go with it. So, and then there's just albums too. I'm still rather startled. Makes me feel old. Well, I was looking at some of my digital paper stuff, and not all of my digital paper. I retired like 10 collections. Some of the early ones, I retired those. But I know I have a ton of those. And I've got a couple more that are coming up soon that I've been slowly trying to work on. So I have this one project that is just, it is just an intrusive, every once in a while you get a project that is just an intrusive little devil, for the want of a better term. It wants to be made so bad, and I have so many other things that need to be done ahead of it, but it is annoyingly insistent that I may have to do it. But it's part of my upcoming fairy stuff, but it's intruding into my brain significantly, so that means it really wants to be happening. So I may have to just go with it and do it. All right, so I've got those two, and then I just have to decide which one. Kind of still wet on the back. Which one wants to be the front? Which one the back? Yes, Christine is absolutely a extremely valuable asset that we have. She, and she does this totally without asking, and when I ask, she's, on top of things. So, yeah, like I said, over the years, without some of the people like Joy and Christine and a few others that helped me, Lois, I wouldn't be able to do this. It truly is. It takes a village to keep me in line, to put it quite bluntly. So, All right, so I've got those little images on there. So then I can put some paint and some stamps. Let me look at some stamps. I'm going to pull out some of my loose stamps, not just my bound stamps, or my block stamps. Let's see what all I got in here. I have this outrageous number of stamps that I never use. It's rather mind-blowing. It's like, what the heck? Oh, that's some good music. This one's really cool. It's unmounted, but I'll try it anyway. The number of stamps I have, this is like almost embarrassing. And this is I have 3 drawers full of just, the flat stamps, and then a whole cabinet full of wood mounted. So, let's see what all. And these are just the miscellaneous loose stuff that when I was rearranging my room I found. It was like, oh, okay. Oh, I love these bugs. These are all unmounted. We can try to use them anyway. Oh, there's a good dragonfly. Good bug. That's cool. Gives us some stuff to play with anyway. Oh, I take it back. I have 4 drawers plus a cabinet. Good night, Lois. Thank you for coming, sweetie. I know this makes it hard for you when I do them in the late afternoon. It's in your time zone. She's such a sweet woman. I'm using gesso. This is white gesso on there. I also probably, if I were trying to do this less, I'm just trying to work quickly on this, I might have done a clear gesso on here and then put the white gesso on there, because I'm going to be putting other stuff on there. When it's raw chipboard and or cardstock, it can rumple or crumple a little bit. So I could have put a clear gesso coat on here and then done this white over it. The reason I use white gesso versus white paint is it is very, where it's opaque, it is opaque. It's not thin like acrylic paint can be, unless you're using a heavy body. You could also use a heavy body acrylic, but I'm using just a gesso because it's got that little bit of body to it, versus the tube acrylics, which are a lot thinner. So white gesso, not super expensive. I highly recommend you have it. I've been making masks like a crazy woman for the last 2 weeks because I keep getting orders in for them. I have like 100 masks to get done. And I keep running into my iron. I have this one almost healed over. It was badly blistered. And then yesterday I ran into the iron at nearly the same spot. So that's the marks on there. Nobody's been, beating on me. I just ran into my iron because I'm not the brightest bulb. So, well, I guess I don't need, if I've got these bugs, these need to get mounted. These are just the rubber. They need to get mounted. That's a giraffe. Where's his face go? Oh, it's a mama and baby giraffe. Okay. Seahorse. Look at this bug. This bug is so cool. But because they're not mounted on the foam, they're a little bit more. I got these years ago. I was into bugs and seahorses, it looks like. So there's. Oh, those are cool. I have to figure out. I got to find my foam and mount those. Anyway, see, I'm easily distracted. I pulled this one out because I thought this was very similar to the stuff on there, so that would be a good one. That one. That one's got a dragonfly on it. It's also unmounted, but it's at least trimmed, so I can figure out a way to use it. But it's got some good backgroundy stuff. And then here's a Hero Arts. This is got some music. And then I was thinking, these are too cutesy now that I'm looking at it for what we got going on and stuff. But the music gives us some backgroundy type stuff. And we can play with some of these other ones. So cool. I'm going to open this one up just because it has some good backgroundy type stuff. Oh, and I didn't get any ink ordered. Knuddles. That was the one thing is we went to do something messy one day. I've got this archival ink, but that'll work. I went to do something messy one day, and I could put my hand down on all of my black ink pads because they were all just totally dry. Yeah, well, even if I wore gloves, it's way up on my arm, Joy. I reach for something and I hit the edge of the iron. It was just because the only reason the iron's out is because I'm sewing all these masks. So I love making a stamp dirty the first time, inking it up. And like I said, this is unmounted, so just gotta mess with it a little bit. But I'm not looking for a perfect image that works for what I'm doing. I'm not your typical traditional stamper. I just kind of toss things together slightly. Oh, that was good. I went to do it and it shifted, so that gave me a bit of a mess. So see, I was putting this on there. I thought, oh, I'll put something flat on there, and then it shifted it. So well, that worked. Okay, that's good. But we can put some stuff, clean that up, put it over the top of it. So that just kind of made that a hot mess, but. I just closed this. I hate these things. There it goes. Come on. Undo. See, this is one of the beauties. It's like, that didn't quite work. Not covered up completely, but that works. Creative opportunity. The mask I'm making is a bunch of hockey ones for local people, hockey fan people. So, let that dry. And then I can pull in some of that while I'm drying. See if I can do two things at once. Is that periwinkle color. Guess I can't because I was not even close. We can pull in some of the periwinkle color in the paint. And of course, since I've been using my pink, I have some more transparent stuff here. on there too. And see, I don't know which one I want for the front. I'm feeling more like this one's the front now. That one was the front, but I think this one's more the front now. That's why I'm drying it. The biggest thing I would say when you're doing messy stuff, mixed media type stuff, messy, is the biggest thing is just letting go of thinking too much and letting, just kind of go in with a gut feel on stuff. And I know that's very hard for some people to do that. But if you think, it kind of stops your brain. So, and also you may have a general idea of a direction of where you want things to go, but that doesn't always happen exactly that way. So, you know, the biggest thing is don't go in with an expectation like you're looking at something that I've done and you're going to do the exact same thing, because you won't. And I think that's what I sometimes love the most about doing this stuff, is it's very freeing, because you just kind of flow with it and don't think so much. And that dried a little bit on me, so that's fine. Oh, there it goes. So I just wanted to add some of that blue. Maybe I'll do one more. And just, you know, flow with it. I don't know where this is, what direction it's wanting to go. I'm just kind of letting it go and just play. And you don't like it, you just go over it. Or you pick up another piece of the chipboard, or you flip it over and do the other side. Yeah, it is hard when you're a bit OCD, or if you're somebody who likes to control how it's going. And I think that's the hardest thing with doing stuff that's just more free. I mean, I don't necessarily call this true mixed media, because I'm just putting paint and paper still, ink. I'm just, you know, doing a little bit more free form type of thing rather than with paper. So, it all really comes down to, you know, kind of what you want to do. So, I'm thinking about this one. I used to be so good about putting everything back. I clean it and wash it and all that kind of stuff. I don't do so much of that anymore. That one's kind of cute. Especially if I do. So I have that about dragonfly, and I can have another one flying up here. I like that. Let's do that. That works. The biggest thing is just not letting yourself get bogged down in thinking too much. Ink your stamp, don't stamp your ink. I don't remember who ingrained that into me, but I like every time I go to ink on a stamp, that runs through my head. And I don't know who said it to me. you could totally use a paper collection or a 6x6 album for this or something like that. Seeing that it's adding layers and elements and bits and pieces and stuff and such and things and this and that, and but you know, if doing something like this is just overwhelming, you know, by doing something small like this and keeping the pages not in the book just yet, then it makes it, you know, if it goofs up next, it's not a huge investment and you maybe learn something and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. So we've got that little guy on there. So then we've got some little images to go on there, and maybe I add some color back behind. Now this is a golden, this compared to like this in terms of acrylic, when you're looking at liquid acrylics that are not just the $2 tubes, these are more like with the regular acrylic art paints, these are way more intense in terms of the color. So just, you know, something to be aware of. This is like super duper intense in terms of the color ink or the saturation of color in it, and I just want it to be pretty light. So okay, these, why is this one not, do I have some sort of, oh, I have that there, I had it with a lock on it, so see, the color will show up too on the gesso part more than it does on the naked chipboard part. So I just added a little bit of color, and you saw how tiny of a little dot of that stuff that I used. Maybe I'll throw some on here. Kind of like that. Do that on this one. Add some little blops of it. That worked. Sometimes, see, I was trying to control it too much, and if you just let it happen, you sometimes get cooler stuff. So I want to add a little bit of something else on here. I want to do that one. Let's go in. Let's do a purple. I'll dry this a little bit. Okay, so but I'm going to spray this onto my table. Just set it on there. Wet intense. So wipe some of it off. But I like how that went. That was cool. See, so we added some bright. It's way more purple on camera. No, it's not. On one camera it is. On the other, it hardly looks like it's even there. See, the hardest part about some of this kind of stuff is just letting it just become and not having control over it. That's what I know is hard for a lot of people, is you want to know how it's going to, before you start, you want to know the end outcome. And since that, I'm going to do that guy right there. Since the dragonfly on that one kind of didn't really take. Oh, see, I love that purple color on there. And it, I don't know if it's showing up as purple on camera. It's looking very different on camera than it does in real life. Well, that sits in. Does whatever it's gonna do there. See, I keep doing this where I'm putting the stamp on the ink pad rather than the ink pad on the stamp. We have been seeing, thank you, Pam. Yeah, we've been seeing a ton of dragonflies in our backyard. A lot. I mean, weirdly, a lot. To the point where my husband notices a lot. And so I was looking some stuff up, and you know, dragonflies have always been my thing. But I found that quote that I posted on my Facebook the other day, and it's like, I honestly do think it's just my dad letting us know he's keeping an eye. There, I like that. That works. He's just keeping an eye on us. Oh, see, now I'm like going, ooh, I don't know. Which do I want on the front? Which on the back? I think this one wants to be the back. This one feels more like the front. So, oh, I haven't even opened this one yet. I just got some of these new crayon things. These are Marabou Art Crayons. They're a little bit different than than these guys, the distress crayons. And surprisingly enough, these are like a super popular one with a lot of artists. I found them at Joann's. I was like, wait, what? And they were on sale. So I was like, score! So I want to do a little bit of, bring that green in. They are, I don't want red. They are water soluble, so you can smear them around with some water, just like you can the distress ones. But they're just a really super soft, not waxy type of crayon. They're not like Crayolas. So I'll smear that blue in there a little. And then my fave, so I like to add, I'm into my fluorescent, and since I was using the fluorescent inside, I'm into my fluorescent right now. I'm in my fluorescent, and it's like super sparing. It's like if you want it to be, you get it on there too much, you can just take a piece of paper and take some of it off. So I like that. Yeah, I'm not personally. I'm not a massive fan of gelatos. They just really don't do a lot for me personally. So I don't use gelatos very. I prefer the crayons. You can also use oil pastels, but the beauty of these is they are um, um, water soluble. I use them, you know, in distress crayons. I have a few more colors though, so I tend to use those. I use them both. So I've got a gold one. I finally got a gold one. So the one place that I want to go, that we have a Dick Blick art supply, and I desperately want to go there, but it's like a block from where all the demonstrations are here in Seattle right now. So I'm like going, yeah, I can wait. So, oh, I like this gold. And it does have a metallic to it, so that's cool. Oh, I like the gold. I like the gold. I like it, like it, like it, like it, like it. Yeah, so those are working for me. I don't know, something about this is getting a little too, it's tightening down a little too much. So I think it just needs like a little splatter batter of something. When you're thinking of that it needs one more thing, and then you always run the risk. It's like, okay, if it's not something readily controllable, it could make it a mess, or it can make it cool. It could go either way. So be aware. I'm just gonna go for, but I'm gonna have to hold it down and spray it down because I want to be at distance. Did exactly what I wanted. I just wanted it to give some of the blue carpet, but whatever. I just wanted to kind of have a splattery mist of a spray on there, and that gave that splattery. So, I don't know. Now I'm liking this one. I might put this one on the back. It just kind of went over the edge a little bit for me, and I love this one. So we're gonna put that one on the front. This will go on the back. This is also another good idea, is do more than one at a time, and then pick which one you like the most. I think the problem with this one right now is it's got too much of the same value, whereas this one's got some more variation. So, but it's fine for the back. I don't have to look at it then, because right now it's bothering me. So. If I walked away from it and looked at it again, I'd probably be fine. But right now, it's just, something's not right with it, and it's bugging me, so. I still like the one for that was going to be the front, but this one, I like the freedom of this one a little more. So.
and I just taken a section of a stamp that had some text behind it with the word moments, and I like it, so we'll use that kind of as a little title thing. I need to go back to using my baby bottle lips nipples again. That by far has been the best thing so far I've ever used. I don't know why I stopped using them. Now watch it just squeeze out in a gush. If I squeeze too hard. You know, I rarely have to do this when you guys aren't watching. My glue just kind of always works. I don't know what it is about doing this live on camera, but my glue doesn't work. Look at this. I punched a hole in there. Come on. It's coming out. Now watch, it's going to gush. I just know it. I feel it. I'm going to squeeze too hard. It's going to gush out. It hates me. Alright, well, I got enough out to do this. So. I like all these little areas down here. Maybe I'll do it right here. There's just some really cool little things going on right here that just are intriguing. So let's put that there. Okay, so I'm super happy with this. There's this one needs something, and I'm not really sure what it wants. That would help. Sorry, Dragonfly. You're just not fitting in right in the neighborhood. What's cool is everything that is water soluble behind there, like the blue oxide ink, the little dots are kind of leaching up through. It's really cool. I'm much happier now. That's what it needed. It was just, that guy just wasn't living there in a happy place. I don't feel like taking my stencils out. I'm so lazy. I'm much happier with it already by having that much more white on there. Yep. Mucho better. I like how that just, yeah, that just is happier. Brings me to a happier place. hot. Alright. I'm much happier now. I don't know which one I want on the front. I like them both. I think this one still wants to be the front. It's got a little bit more freedom to it than this one does, but I'm much happier with this one now. I like having that little bit more of that white in there. So, okay. That brings me a little more joy. Okay. Probably should have done these ones here as well. I mean, this could even have gone on the inside here, but I can do something on there. And I might do, what I might end up doing is doing a piece of craft paper that covers over that with something on it. So, but I like this on the front. That's going to work for me. So now I can use some of my score tape, put this on. Where are we at for time? It's 5:30. We'll get at least the front side of another one of the pages done, but and maybe I can do some of the other pages doing some Facebook Lives or something. I don't know. No guarantees. I'm not committing to anything right now because every time I commit to something, it seems to go sideways on me. So take this one off first. I always like to always have one side. It's all that, so when I'm trying to line something up so it doesn't get all goofed up. And then I can go get that kind of stuck down, and then I can get in between and pull the tape back off. So there's where the cover looks. So on the back, so everybody says they want a little touch of blue. It's kind of dark blue. Let's go with this one. It's wet and it doesn't want to take the crayon, so I'm going to dry it a little bit before I totally mud it up. There, that works. There, you guys got your little bit of blue that you wanted. Oh, if I didn't want the blue on there, I wouldn't have done it. So. Okay, well, I just took the top. Make sure that's the top. It is. But I only take one of the 4 sides off to line up corners and such, because it's easier to do when there's just one. I don't know why it feels like it's so dark. Maybe let me try a different color on my ring light. Let's see if that helps. Oops. It's going dark. I was dimming instead of changing it. I think that one's still the best. Oh, it's a little bit brighter. I just looked up and I'm like going, I've got all this light in here and it looks dark. And that's the problem with this camera. It's kind of one of the better cameras out there for this stuff, but it's still not the greatest. So there's on the back and the front. I really like the front. So then I can tie this. And I'm going to shorten these because these are way too long. But I want it to be able to expand, so I don't want to shorten them too much. And I'll probably end up putting like little charms or something on the ends, just because I want them to be, I don't want to add, maybe a little bit more. Just to give them a little bit of weight so they hang, but I think that makes for a cute little book. That fits with what goes on the side. So let's pull a page out, keep it open to the page that I did so that I can keep it to where it's not screaming. It's not screaming. What were you thinking? You do not go with this at all, so let's see what I can find. Snap lines. Mr. Flies. Oh, he's too big. Ooh, how about a bee? I like the bee. We'll do the bee. And I have this Yamalicious yellow color. This buttery one. I like that with that. There's kind of the color palette on this one. So the yellow ties in, maybe a little of the green. Maybe not quite that bright green. There's a softer green. I like that. Let's go this way. Now this is just how I'm choosing to put a background on, is with this gesso. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it with paints. Or we did on that, we put some tissue on that first day too. So, you know, there's all sorts of ways to do it. Get a little dry. I like the yellow in there. Kind of fits in with the bee idea. There's purple on there already, so let's wipe a little bit of that off because I don't want the purple with the yellow, because the purple with the yellow will turn my yellow to mud. Spread it out, let it separate out a little bit, and go bloop, bloop. Maybe dry it a little bit. For sure. That would totally work, Christine. That's a good idea. So dry this just a bit. Now I'm using a heat tool to dry this. If you're doing this, you can also use a blow dryer. Just set it on low. I mean, we're not heat embossing, so it doesn't have to be super heavy duty. There, that gives me my yellow. And dry it. And this, by doing these kinds of techniques, if you're having a hard time letting go and trying to use it with a paintbrush or something, sometimes doing it to where you have less control by putting it onto your nonstick surface and then splopping it on there. It's like it becomes what it wants to do, and you have less you're not fighting yourself. If you're having a hard time just letting go, do those kinds of techniques, because it will be a lot easier. You'll probably be more comfortable when you're like doing the stamping and stuff like that. But this kind of thing, to give it that totally loose, free kind of look, take the control away from you, and do that kind of a technique where I had it on my surface and I just dropped it into the paint, and it gives kind of a cool, much more free way of doing it. So alrighty, let's see. Color wise, I want to put a little bit of this green on there. It's also why I'm into using a palette knife right now. It allows you to put your own mark on it because you control the palette knife, but it's not as controlled as a brush. So I'm really loving the palette knife right now. It's a way to put it on there that's looser, but by your own choosing, it becomes, you have a little more control over it than just dropping it into something on your desk. So I'm loving the palette knives. Cheap, plastic, cheap, easy to find. I don't know if I want the purple in there. I'll leave it out just in case I decide to use it. But I got fluorescent orange now too, instead of the fluorescent pink. So I might put the fluorescent orange on. This one had some fluorescent green. These are the fluorescent colors. I want to find a fluorescent blue and a fluorescent red, but we're going to go with the fluorescent orange to just do some little dibbles. And again, when you're using this fluorescent stuff, sparing. Not a lot, just a dibble. Not a doodle, a dibble. You also always want to shake these up before you start painting with them because they separate and you get some oozy goozy stuff. There, just little dabs. A little dabble. A little dabble, oh do ya? Okay, who's old enough to remember a little dabble do ya? What was that, Brill cream? Something like that? I show my age sometimes. Dippity doo? Little dabble do ya? Oh, maybe it was Dippity Doo and not Brill cream. Okay. I remember Dippity Doo. We used to use Dippity Doo on my bangs, trying to get my bangs to be in a little bit better control. Okay, I'm going to dry this and I'm going to do my stamped and then I can add some little bits and pieces here and there. Yeah, I thought it was Brill cream. But I do remember Dippity Doo. It was pink gel stuff. What was the song, Pam, that I texted you the other day? Secret Agent Man. That was it. And oh God, that thing was stuck in my head. I went and found it on YouTube and sent it to her, so it was stuck in her head too. Those little blocks are thick, so they take a minute to dry here. And I want them to dry because I don't want to stamp over them potentially and have them mush on me. For those of you who don't know, that Christine was a ballerina with the San Francisco Ballet. So I'm sure she had a few ballet recitals in her time. I have a ballet album that I want to do. I'll have to consult you one day when I'm doing the papers. It's stuck in my head, and it's one that also is kind of that brain worm. It's not really an earworm, it's more of a brain worm that wants out eventually. So but for you, Christine, I've had this picture in my head for a ballet album or dance. I have no dance ability whatsoever, not even a slight little glimmer of it. So, all right, so let's just bloop. Cool. I like the kind of hatchy mark. It's kind of got hatchy marks on it. I like it. B. And go over the yellow. I'll run him off the edge a little bit. Perfect. I actually stamped those decent. Doesn't happen often. As I said, stamping is not my strength, and I tend to make a mess. Excuse me. So now I'm going to work some of the blue, since I'm doing the blue pretty much on every page. That periwinkle that I use for the binding. on his wings a little bit. Giving him a little watercolory stuff. The thing is this stuff dries quickly. Cool. Just that little hint of the blue. Didn't want much. I don't know what more he needs. Maybe a little bit of crayon on that. A couple of the leaves. Close to the stem. And I'm going to do that spritz of the blue again. But I got to hold it off camera, so sorry, so you get the distance. About an arm's length. So I got the little splats of blue. Got my hand all splattered of blue. Probably got my rugs, but oh god, I don't even think about what else on this rug. Never have a carpet at the studio, ever. It's so nasty. But I don't want to empty it out to put the hard floor in here, so I'm just, figuring when we move, we'll change it out. Yeah, I don't have a stamp platform. I'm not making cards. I'm not making stuff to where that's important to me. So, and, to be honest, if it doesn't want to stamp perfectly, I'm totally fine with that because, that's what it wants. So, if that's what it wants, that's what I let it do. Try not to burn things while I'm doing this. I'm not using all the words from this one, just a few of them. Those of you who've watched me over the years and be so precise in cutting with my craft knife or with my cutter, and then you're watching me do this and going, holy padoodle doodles, what is she doing? She's just like willy-nilly just whacking at it now. This without it looking goofy. It looked goofy, so I'm not going to cut this one. I'm going to leave this because it has things that poke up and things that poke down, so I would have to kind of wiggle around it, and then that ends up looking really dumb in my eyes. So let's put this one on first. It hates me. It really hates me. I'm going to take the lid off the glue and go wash you out after the show. So there. I'll show you. Yeah, I don't have any animals in here. Toby and Allie got into a fight today. That was real funny over a bone. Because Allie gets the bone because Tucker doesn't like the bones. Well, he doesn't use the bones, so they had a squabble over it because Allie set it down and Tucker grabbed it. But then Tucker comes upstairs and runs around the entire upstairs crying because he wants to the bone to be to bury the bone. So he walks around. So I finally took it from him, set it on the shelf, and then he was fine. As soon as I took it from him, he was fine. But then Allie came out upstairs, sniffed where it was, and Tucker knew that's where I had buried it for him. She sniffed, and he went after her. I mean, after her neck. And it was like, okay, yeah, this is real fun. So we had all of us trying to get the dogs separated. It was just so much fun. There's these series of dots along the side that I wanted to kind of give a balance to the V. Alright, so there's the front of that page. And so that's going to go in, and see how the yellow ties with the yellow on this side, but they're two very different, but they kind of work together. And this will probably unbend when I do the other side, but I'm not going to glue it in because I want to do the other side. But maybe I can do the other pages on some Facebook Lives or something, or try the Instagram Live or something to finish off the pages. So starts kind of the purple, but they all have the blue in there because your brain looks for those visual similarities. So by having the same blue on each of the pages, it doesn't matter what the other colors are, your brain is like going, it's cohesive and they're working together, because style-wise they do, but also your brain is looking for that color. It already sees it here, so it just kind of all will blend together. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have a total of 6 pages. So I have 4, both sides, so for like 4.5 pages, plus my front and back cover. So yeah, we can play with these. So we'll see how it all starts to shake out. So fun. So we got the cover done, and we got a page done, and the back cover. So I'm pleased. Seem to have a nature theme going on. I got the bee, we got the bird, got the leaves and the whatever that is. But the bird's for joy. So we got the birds and the bees. Okay, that's not the direction I wanted this to go, but kind of, fell into it. But anyway, fun. So, quick, easy, low stress. The biggest thing on this is I want it to be low stress. And what happened to that? Oh, I'm still going. This. I must have hit my screen. Oh, I did. I just hit my screen on my iPad. So, well, let me put these at least out of the way. I don't know which ones they go in, so I'm just going to set them off to the side for right now. And get these out of the way so I can move my... We'll do a bug on the next one. A beetle bug. I love that beetle bug. He's so cool. Nice and tight on that. My paints. Try to be good and tidy up. Put the sprays. Put the glue upside down. That one that hates me. Alright. And then I forget to do my brushes, but there's always something. So anyway, but yeah, fun times. Happy with it. We'll get it all done. But yeah, I mean, if I did short little half hour, 45-minute, this definitely is too long. half-hour, 45-minute either Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives to do a page at a time. Might be fun, kind of fun, something different. Something different. And then I still haven't sat down and really figured out how to get Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives off of those two things and get on YouTube. Eventually I'll get everything over on YouTube as well. So anyway, all right, let me pull this up, switch cameras. You can say goodbye to my face. So, there, not so quite so. I'm feeling like I'm in an interrogation room. So, yeah, I try. Yeah, the spine is exposed on this. It is deliberately exposed, intentionally. One of the things we could have done is how we did on this side with this ribbon to close it. We could have done the same sort of thing on this side, sandwiched it in. To tie it, but no, this is an exposed spine. That's why having that little extra fin on the outside keeps it from. It gives it some stability. I mean, it's a little loosey goosey little book. It's not super hard and tight. So if you like tight little books, this is not the one for you. But it's just a fun, quick, easy. It's a playbook. Just use it to play. If it doesn't come out perfect, guess what? Nobody's gonna really. You're your worst critic. You are, for guaranteed certainty, you are your worst critic. That you may think something is ugly as sin, and other people go, "Oh my goodness, how pretty is that?" So get out of your own way, because we are harder on ourselves than anybody would ever be on you. So I can guarantee it with 100% certainty that you are your worst critic. We all are. I'm my worst critic. And letting go of that is impossible. I know sometimes, but you can do it. And just give yourself some slack, especially now. So, but yeah, it's just fun to have some place to play where there's no hard and fast rules, nothing that you have to do. There's nothing that has to be perfect. So yeah, just use it to just play. So I think that's kind of what why I'm doing some of the stuff that I'm doing, is less stress. Maybe make it to where you just play with materials that you already have. Or the liquid acrylic paints are like $1.92. They even have them at Walmart. So, or they have them. I bet you the dollar store even has some liquid acrylic paints. So you don't need. Or if you have watercolors, even if it's a pan watercolor, you do this even with watercolors and some gesso. It doesn't take a lot of materials, and if you don't want to do messy, you just mat the pages just like you do mat and embellish. You can add some flaps, you can add some pockets, just like we've done on a zillion and two other projects. So I'm sitting here, I keep looking up at the, let me grab this one album, because this is one, is if you wanted to do it in a more traditional method. I know this is on my website from God only knows how long ago this was, but I remember posting each of the pages every day after the class. I wish I remember what this one was called, but this was sitting on the counter up there. We did some stencil stuff on there, but see, it's small. It's not, it's a little bit larger, but we've added little bits and pieces. And this is 5 billion years ago. And I'll have to look it up unless somebody recalls what we did on this one. But you could do something along this line too, where it's more of a collage with, oh, I'm sitting here showing it to you and I'm on the wrong camera. There. So it has just little flaps and bits, tags and pockets, but it's collaged. It's not just matted on there. So if you wanted to still keep it to where I don't want to bust out, paint and get my hands all messy and all that kind of stuff.
But here you could just use even a 6x6 pad and some embellishments. You know, like we've got these little pockets back behind here where we had little tags. I do not recall exactly, but I remember the tutorial for it, or whatever it was that we did, had an actual paper. I took a scan of each of the pages. So, it's a dinosaur. This one this has been around for a long time. See, it's got a little pocket here. Stuff back behind. Here's some tags. Oh, what did we call this one? I wish I could remember. I have to dig. I mean, this has got to be from at least 2012. You know, what I think is so funny is like, oh, you know, Laura's kind of going to something new with mixed media. I'm going, no, I've been doing mixed media, and you've been doing mixed media. You just don't know you've been doing mixed media. This is kind of mixed media, but it's not wet stuff. We're just doing all dry stuff, but we're collaging things on there. You know, there's all sorts of different bits and pieces of stuff and such, and this, that, and the other. You know, so we've been doing this sort of thing for a really long time. But see, it doesn't have to be huge to have all sorts of doodahs and dillywogs and such in them. We were making tags for it. Oh. You've seen this. I've done this before now, since this is a pocket, and then these came down to make a bigger pocket where stuff goes behind it. And this is a pocket, and then this is a pocket back behind it with a tag in it. This has a tag back behind there too. Yeah, this kit had a ton of, it might be Simple Treasures. That very well could be it, because this is a bound little book, and it had the white pages, and it came, the book was a bound book. It was a Prima, this is a Prima book. It had the elastic on it, and it was already bound this way, and then we just embellished in the book itself. And there's some flowers that go with it. So some of these stuff that, you know, I still do some of these things. Other people now do these things. Like one day somebody said, "Doesn't it bug you about some of that?" And I'm going, yeah, to a certain degree, not so much anymore, because I know what I did. I know when I did it. So, and I've kept everything very public. So it's like, whatever. I don't need the recognition. It'd be nice, but. And here's a canvas tag. We had canvas where we did some stuff. Yeah, this was, I remember packaging this kit. It had a ton of stuff in it. See, and then these are here. These both became pockets. It had some canvas, die-cut canvas tape stuff in it. I think it was Prima. Prima was into doing that canvas stuff, but it's got to be from way back there. Now, I think it's Simple Treasures. I think Barb has got it right. I think it was Simple Treasures. That sounds like it. But this is just, this has, you know, some papers that coordinated together, and it had, I recognize the fact that it's a Kaisercraft, some Kaisercraft stuff in here. But a package of embellishments. You can see, you know, here's these little tab things. You know, you all know I've been doing those forever. See, I like closing little pockets differently. This is just
This is some ribbon. So, you know, these are things that I've been doing for a million years that I show you, and those of you who've been around for a while recognize them that I've been showing you for years. Even if yeah, see, this is some old grunge it was that brown vellum type stuff. That's not even on your spreadsheet because it wasn't literally a tutorial. It's videos, and I remember with each page that we did, I would then do a scan of it because I wasn't giving out dimensions and everything, but a scan of what I did, and you could take dimensions off of the scans because then each of the pages was issued with the scans. See, and then this has a pocket here in the back. I'll look it up and figure out what it is. I'll let you know, Christine. So and then it had this elastic thing that just went around the button, so it all closed. But see, it doesn't have to be huge, and I think that's what I'm trying to do, is go back to some things that are a little bit smaller. Those huge, you know, 8 by 10 or 9 by 12 type of albums that are thick, they get overwhelming to complete. They just take days and weeks to get them done. So I'd rather be doing some of this small stuff. I mean, and look at, for me, for those of you who've been around for a while, this is other than maybe having something on these pockets in the front and back covers, this is a finished album. As you all know, I'm notorious for doing 2 or 3 pages and then saying, okay, birdies, little birdies get to fly and figure out, I've taught you all this stuff, you figure it out from there. But this is a fully completed album. But I think Simple Treasures, and I think I had a Christmas version too, because, you know, I always did 2 versions. So I don't know. I'm getting closer and closer to where I might do some more kits again. If people want kits, whether you'd rather have kits or you'd rather have just projects, I don't know. So it is Simple Treasures. I thought it was Simple Treasures. Good job, Barb. Barb McIntosh is the one who remembered that. September 2014. Okay, it's a little bit later than I thought, but and yeah, there's videos of it. Thank you, Deborah, for going and looking. I knew somebody would do that. So, yeah, and then it had fabric in there, and these are some die-cut fabric flowers that we did here on the front. Yeah, I just remember the kits being just loaded with all sorts of stuff in there. But yeah, see, you could do something like this, even in an album like that. It's just having it collage. And you don't have to get all messy. So, that was the idea of that. That just one happened to be sitting up there talking to me and saying, show me, show me, show me. Well, not really, but I could hear it. You guys could too, right? So anyway, let me switch cameras again. I got sidetracked. I never get sidetracked, ever, do I? So anyway, fun. September 2014. Wow, really? Cool. Well, 6 years ago. Anyway. Alrighty, guys. Well, this was a fun day today. I'm sorry we got delayed twice, but at least it's working and we're good to go. I'm not sure when the next scheduled class will be. Like I said, I think I might try some of the Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives and do a couple of the pages in here. We'll see. Because I'm ready to move on and work on something else on the longer 2-hour classes and stuff. So I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. As I said, I have this one project that is really pushing on my brain that it really wants to come to life. So we'll see. But I have plenty, far too much, that needs to get done. But unfortunately, sometimes it's how the brain works, that something else wants to be done first. So it's fun being random. Yeah. I'm a little scattered these days, so
Random is a gentle way of putting it, so thank you. So, alrighty, guys. So I'm gonna let y'all go. It was fun having you join me in my studio to get a little messy. I now have blue fingers, but that's always fun. So, but I gotta go figure out dinner for the family. What time is it? Oh yeah, see, I'm already 15 minutes over, but we started a few minutes late, so it's not that big of a deal. So, alrighty, guys, I'm gonna let you all go, and we will see you next time. I don't plan to make it 2 or 3 weeks from now. I want it to be next week, but I just know how my brain is working right now. If I commit to it, then I freak out a little bit. So I'm doing my best. Maybe if it's not so hardcore schedule. I think it's just 10 years of the same sort of thing. It's just, it caught up to me. So, anyway, as Deborah says, everybody, please wear a mask, stay safe, wash your hands, social distance when you're out and you can't, if you don't have a mask on, make sure you're social distancing. But everybody stay safe. And if you're not registered to vote, please do so. Here in the States anyway. And we will see you next time. So peace out. Love you guys all bunches. Bye for now.